Okay, I want you to just picture a room for a second. It's inside Clarence's house, and it is quiet,
Yeah.
like heavy quiet.
Mm-hmm.
There are no cameras, no press, nothing. It's just King Charles, Prince William, and Prince Harry.
Yeah.
And the tension in that room must have been just unbelievable.
Oh, you can imagine. It's a scene that feels like it's from a movie, doesn't it? The public face of the monarchy is just gone.
Totally gone. So Charles is standing in front of this hidden private safe, one that's been buried deep inside the residence for years.
Right.
He opens it, and inside, well, I'd be expecting, I don't know, state secrets or something.
That's kind of bombshell file.
Exactly. But it's not. It's a sealed envelope. And on the front is handwriting that I'm sure just floored William and Harry. It's their mothers, Princess Diana.
And you have to just stop there and think about the weight of that. This isn't just a note they found in a book somewhere. The source calls it a voice from the grave.
It is.
It's been locked away for over 20 years. And Charles, when he hands it over, all he says is, "This was her last request."
This was her last request. I mean, what a line. So today on the deep dive, we're not just, reading someone's mail. We are unpacking how this single envelope, and actually a second one they found later, basically drew the battle lines for the modern royal rift.
It really did.
We're talking about a plea for freedom, a pretty terrifying prophecy about her sons becoming statues, and a private diary that confirms all of Diana's deepest fears.
And the central question we have to get to is, why hide it? Why did Charles sit on this for 2 decades? Because, as we'll see, revealing these letters wasn't just sharing a memory.
Yeah.
It was like pulling the pin on a grenade that had been sitting right under the throne for a generation.
Okay, so let's start with that first letter, the one from the safe. The context here is just so important. She wrote it only weeks before she died.
Right. And what's striking, looking at the transcript, is what it's not about. It's not about who gets the jewels or the titles or the money.
Not at all. And that's what makes it so different from, a standard royal will.
Which is all about assets and succession. Diana's letter, it was. It was a manifesto for emotional survival, a plea for freedom, love, and protection.
She wrote, and this is a direct quote, she wanted them to live as people first, not just as princes. Now, to you and me, that sounds lovely, live as people. But in the world of the royal family, I mean, that's a radical request, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly radical. You could almost say it's anti-monarchy. The whole foundation of the institution is that the crown comes before the individual.
You're a prince first. Your feelings are second.
Exactly. And Diane was just flipping that completely on its head. She wrote, "They must be free to love, to feel, to lead without masks."
Masks. That's such a loaded word.
It is. She's talking about the performance of it all. She lived that performance. She knew what it cost to wear that public face while, you're crumbling inside. She didn't want her sons to be actors in their own lives.
And she used this metaphor that I just found so chilling. She said she was afraid the palace would mold them into statues.
That image is just, it's haunting.
It really is, statues. Polished, cold, perfect to look at, but they're made of stone. They can't move, they can't feel.
And you have to think about why she chose that specific word. A statue is permanent. It doesn't change, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't cry. Diana saw the firm, that whole machine, as a statue factory.
Yeah.
She saw what it did to Charles, the repression, the stiff upper lip, the duty that just tramples every natural human feeling. She feared that emotional vacuum, as she called it, would swallow William and Harry, too.
So when she says statue, she's talking about a defense mechanism. You turn to stone so you don't feel the pain.
Precisely. But she knew that turning to stone also means you stop living. She was terrified that the crushing silence she felt would just become their reality. She was fighting to stop the system from dehumanizing her own kids.
Which leads to the big question. Charles had this letter. He knew her wishes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, a direct attack on him, but it was a critique of his entire world.
Right.
So why hide it for 20 years?
This is where you have to try and get inside Charles's head. The account suggests it was mainly about fear. Fear that this letter was a permission slip for his sons to just blow up the system.
Right.
I mean, if the mother of the future king says, "You don't have to do this if it destroys you," that's a threat to the entire line of succession.
So he thought he was protecting the family business.
In his mind, yes. Silence was protection. If he hides the letter, he keeps the structure intact. He keeps William on his path. He keeps Harry in the fold. But there's also an element of control, surely.
Of course.
Diana was always the chaos agent in his world of order, and even from the grave, her words could disrupt his control over his sons. Locking it away was his attempt to contain her influence.
But secrets like that, they don't stay contained forever. And this one's reveal brought chaos. But before we get into that, there's the second letter.
Yes.
And this one is somehow even more personal.
If the first letter was a broad plea, this second one was like a guided missile aimed right at William's heart.
And this wasn't in the safe, was it?
No, this was found later. It was around 2004 during a renovation. It was tucked inside one of Diana's personal photo albums. And it wasn't for my boys. It was just for William.
2004. So William's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
He's really starting to become the man he's supposed to be. And then he finds this. What did it say?
The tone is so intimate. It's a mother talking to her eldest, knowing the unbelievable weight he's going to have to carry. And the key line, the one that apparently just broke him, was, "Promise me you won't lose the boy inside you."
Wow.
Promise me you won't lose the boy inside you. For a guy being trained to be a king, that is heavy.
It's the complete opposite of his training. The whole system is screaming at him, grow up, be strong, be stoic.
Right.
And his mother's voice comes through and says, no, stay vulnerable, keep that part of you alive. She also wrote, kindness will be your strength, not status.
Which is a direct shot at the entire hierarchy. Status is everything in that world.
Exactly. She was trying to kind of reprogram his core values before the institution could harden them. The transcript says William was shattered, that he was emotionally frozen for days. Now, we know William is the steady one, the stoic one. Why did this letter specifically take him apart like that?
Well, to get that, you have to go back to the trauma. Back to the night she died.
The final phone call.
The final phone call. He was 15, he's at Balmoral, he's with his cousins, he's having fun. Diana calls. And like any teenager who wants to get back to playing, he rushes her off the phone. He's brief. He says, talk to you later.
And there was no later.
No. And that guilt, the hurt, the words left unsaid, that has clearly haunted him his entire life. He built walls around that pain. He just poured himself into duty as a way to cope.
So when he reads this letter, years later,
it's like she's seeing right through all those walls. She's begging him not to lose himself, not to become a statue. It's almost as though she foresaw that he would try to numb his grief by becoming the perfect royal soldier.
So it forced him to really look at himself.
Yeah, completely. It forced a confrontation.
Right.
Had he become the man she wanted? Or had he become the statue she feared just to survive losing her? It's a huge identity crisis. Am I doing this out of duty, or am I doing this because I'm terrified to feel anything else?
That's a terrifying question for anyone, let alone the future king.
Mm-hmm.
So while William is having this meltdown, Harry reads the same letters and has a totally different reaction.
Totally different. If William felt the weight of the past, Harry felt a sudden lightness. He felt seen.
The transcript uses the word vindication.
Yes. For Harry, that first letter about freedom was absolute validation. You have to remember, he always felt like the odd one out, the spare.
Right.
He felt trapped by the press, by the rules, and now suddenly, here is his own mother's voice saying, you don't owe the crown your spirit. You owe yourself happiness.
You don't owe the crown your spirit. I mean, that is a revolutionary line for a royal to read.
It gave him permission. For years, Harry must have felt that his desire to leave was a betrayal of his family, of his country. This letter reframed everything. It told him that leaving wasn't the betrayal.
Staying and losing his soul would be.
That would be the betrayal. Exactly.
It's so tragic, really. Two brothers read the same words. One hears, do your duty, but do it with kindness. That's William.
And the other hears, run for your life. That's Harry. And that right there, that's the engine of the rift we see today. The transcript argues this moment created the deep divide. William saw a mandate to modernize from within.
To prove you can be king and still be human.
Right. To prove his mother's fear of statues wrong by being a living, breathing king.
And Harry.
Harry saw proof that the system is fundamentally broken. He felt that by leaving, he was the one who was truly listening to her. He probably looks at William and thinks, you stayed. You're becoming the statue.
And William looks at Harry and thinks, you left. You abandoned the very duty she wanted us to change for the better.
They're both trying to be the good men she wanted.
But their definitions of what that means they can't coexist.
And this didn't come from nowhere. Diana didn't just write these letters on a whim.
Yeah.
The transcript really dives into her parenting style and frames it as a deliberate campaign.
It was strategic. We all remember the photos of her taking the boys to McDonald's or a theme park, and we think, oh, what a fun mom.
And she was, but the source makes it clear this was anti-royal training.
She was trying to inoculate them.
That's a great way to put it. She was trying to inoculate them against the royal bubble. She took them to homeless shelters. She made them sit with AIDS patients without gloves, which was a huge deal back then.
She made them ride the tube.
Exactly. There's a quote in there from a friend. She didn't want kings. She wanted good men,
She wanted them to have empathy.
which in the royal system can be seen as a liability. It makes you vulnerable. Diana saw it as their only real strength. She knew if they didn't understand the people they were meant to lead, they'd become irrelevant. Or worse.
And to back all this up, the source brings in a third piece of evidence. So we have the letters. And now we have Diana's private diary. And this part, honestly, it feels the most raw.
The diary is the why. If the letters are the instructions, the diary is the reason behind them. It chronicles the day-to-day reality of her life in the palace. The loneliness, the bulimia.
And that phrase again, the crushing silence.
It's not just that the houses are big and quiet. It's the complete lack of emotional feedback. You cry and no one says anything because royals don't cry. It's like being gaslit by an entire institution. The diary shows a woman who felt like she was literally disappearing.
There's one entry they quote that is it's brutal. She wrote, "He hates that they love me more than him," talking about Charles.
That just cuts to the core of the toxicity, doesn't it? It confirms all those rumors about jealousy. It wasn't just a failed marriage, it was a power struggle. And the boy's affection for her was part of that struggle.
She was afraid they'd become pawns.
Exactly. She wrote about her fear they'd become shadows, just used to prop up Charles's image, instead of being allowed to have their own light. The diary proves she felt she was fighting for her son's souls long before she ever wrote those final letters.
Okay, so let's bring this to today. We have the letters, the diary, all this history, and we have William and Harry on opposite sides of the world. But the source suggests something actually quite beautiful. It says, they are not following her steps, they're walking in her spirit.
I think that's the fairest way to look at it. They're both executing her legacy, just with completely different toolkits.
Yeah.
I mean, look at William. He's working inside the system.
Right, with things like the Heads Together campaign for mental health.
Exactly. That is pure Diana,
Mhm.
encouraging people to talk about their feelings. But he's doing it from the steps of the palace. He's trying to make the statue breathe. He believes the institution can be reformed with kindness.
And Harry just took the freedom part and ran with it.
He took it literally. He's working completely outside the system. The Archewell Foundation is about compassion, storytelling. He decided you can't fix the statue. You have to get off the pedestal to be real. He believes that to honor his mother, he had to save his own family from the very environment that crushed her.
So the question that just hangs over everything is,
Yeah.
can they ever honor her legacy together? Or are these two versions of her wish just fundamentally at odds?
And that's the tragedy. William sees staying and enduring as strength, the boy inside surviving the crown. Harry sees leaving and speaking out as strength, the spirit refusing to be caged.
And both of them can argue they are the true keeper of her flame.
But their methods are so opposed, it puts them in direct conflict.
It makes you wonder, when Diana wrote those letters, did she know she was essentially handing them a map with two completely different destinations?
I think she just knew the institution would force a choice on them eventually, submission or exile. She just wanted them to survive whichever choice they made. She wanted them to be good men no matter what.
This has been a lot to unpack. We started with a hidden safe, and we've ended up at the future of the monarchy itself.
It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just about dates and crowns. It's about real people making impossible choices.
We saw how Charles's 20 years of silence was this attempt to hold back a tide. We saw how William had to kind of break and then rebuild himself to carry that weight without becoming a statue.
And we saw how Harry found the courage to walk away because his mother, from beyond the grave, basically gave him the permission he was looking for.
And what it all shows is that the monarchy is at this huge crossroads. You have tradition, which is Charles in the old way, and then you have transformation, which was Diana's final wish.
A huge clash.
Which brings me to the final thought I want to leave you with. The source suggests Diana's definition of strength was kindness, not status. If that is true, then here's the question. Is the royal family, as it's currently constructed, even capable of surviving Diana's final lesson? Or was her request for freedom really a request for the end of the monarchy as we know it? Can a statue ever truly come to life? Or does it have to crumble first for something real to take its place?
That is the question King William will one day have to answer.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. It's been a heavy one, but an important one. We'll see you next time.